If you think Ling is only about mechanics, that is exactly why you're losing on him. I have 3k games on Ling with like 78 win rate. I've also hit 1,000 stars and have tournament experience, so trust me when I say this. Most players are playing Ling completely wrong. They think Ling is all about fast hands, wall jumps, and flashy ult combos. But that's not actually what makes Ling strong. The real reason why good Ling players can carry games is because they understand tempo. He's not a hero you can just force every single fight and expect to win because you have a fast hand combo or some shit. He's also very blue buff reliant, he needs items, he needs patience, he needs to scale. But once you understand how to play around his tempo, his item spikes, and his backline axis, this hero becomes one of the scariest junglers in the game. I'm firstly gonna go over the biggest mistakes that Ling players make. Then I'm gonna go over his skills, his build, combos, and how to properly use his ultimate. I'll also show the best settings for him, and at the end I'm gonna review a real scrim on a game that I played. And for those who don't know, a scrim is basically practice for tournament where you ask other 5-man teams that are looking to compete to go on a custom 5v5. So this is not, your typical solo rank where people are randomly fighting and doing whatever they want. In scrims, the teams are a lot more coordinated. The drafts are more serious with a lot of meta picks, and the rotations a lot more thought out. And even when my team was making mistakes, I was still looking for something around the map that I can trade with and punish the enemy for. That is the main thing I want you to understand from this guide. On Ling, you don't force. You basically farm, trade, and then you punish the enemy. Before we talk about skills, builds, or combos, we need to fix the way most people think about Ling. Because if your mindset on Ling is wrong, the build and combos are just not gonna save you.
So cold is this moonlit steep.
The first big misconception is that Ling is only a mechanics hero. Yes, mechanics do matter, of course. This applies to almost every hero, especially the ones that are harder. You need to be comfortable on walls, you need to know how to collect your swords, how to do a fast hand combo, you gotta know how to use your second skill properly. And things like energy management, people overlook a lot, but mechanics are not the main reason good Ling players win. The main reason they win is because they make better decisions, their macro is just better. Even if your mechanics are not the best, macro is always better than your mechanics, your game sense is always more important. And you actually have to know when the enemy backline is actually punishable. You can't just randomly go in. Ling is not an early game hero. This should be obvious, but I feel like a lot of people still force these fights even in the early game, for example for the first turtle. And I'm saying this because I've won against Lings, I see how they play. You're not supposed to play him like you're the strongest hero on the map at level 4. If you force every invade, every turtle, every river fight, and every random scrimmage, you're gonna fall behind. And just like any other hero, but especially on Ling, once you fall behind, the hero feels terrible and almost impossible to come back, especially because, like I said earlier, he is very blue buff dependent. You're gonna jump in, do no damage, you're gonna lose your blue buff, you have no energy, and you're just gonna get stunned and die. And then you're gonna feel like the hero is weak or like the buff didn't actually do anything to him. But most of the time, the hero is not the issue, you're just forcing the wrong fights. The third mistake is forcing turtle when your team is not ready. This is probably one of the biggest mistakes I see. Turtle spawns and people instantly think they have to walk up to it and fight it or start it right away. This applies to a lot of junglers, okay? You need to look at the map first. I always say this, but in order to do turtle, you need your roamer or EXP to vision you, give you space so that you can actually walk up. If you walk up by yourself and start hitting turtle, it's just gonna make you low, and then the whole enemy team is gonna go on you. This is why pinning your map in the early game is also really important, okay? I recommend a lot of you guys to use your index finger, move your map around, and look at the situation throughout the whole map. Also, look at the draft, Does your mid lane have prio? And these things you learn with experience and seeing interactions, If you have a very strong early game comp, then you can probably go for it. But let's say your EXP is, for example, let's say your EXP loses the matchup for some reason, right? Like if your XP is already behind and he loses lane, and he won't be level 4 in time, he's probably gonna be late, meaning their XP is gonna be on you first. So you should probably be really careful. Or like for example, let's say you're against a Yuzong, then you have to change your whole playstyle into prioritizing ganking this Yuzong early, because as you guys know, as soon as Yuzong gets level 4, turtle number 1 is automatically like almost impossible to fight, right? You always have to look at the comp, pin your map to look at the situation, and change your playstyle depending on all of these factors. Also in first turtle, in majority of assassins, but especially for Ling, you most likely have to let the enemy start it and try to go for the steal. Unless your conditions are good, right? Like you already won early game, you're really ahead, your XP is there first, then sure, you can go for it. But if it's 50-50, you have to keep farming, most likely, and try to steal it, so make sure you save your first kill for that. Or you can try to bait out some skills, right? Like I said, like if they have a Yuzong, try to bait his ultimate first, maybe. If they have an Akai, try to bait out his ult, right? Heroes like that are that kind of bother you in objectives. But generally you want to do this as a team, right? You shouldn't waste your ultimate or risk your own life just to bait out some skills. You should do it along with your team. But generally you should keep farming, save your first skill, and try to go for the steal. If you cannot contest, always go for the trade, right? This is why it's important to check where the enemy started. So let's say if turtle is bottom lane and the enemy started red buff, then his red buff is most likely gonna be up around the same time that turtle's up, so you can always just go for the trade. You don't have to force every single turtle. Even if you don't die, you're still wasting a lot of time that you could have potentially been farming or invading. The point is, if one side of the map is losing, you need to get value somewhere else. That's how Ling keeps his tempo, right? The fourth mistake is fighting without your blue buff. Ling with blue buff and Ling without blue buff are almost two different heroes. With blue you can move around the map freely, you can fight longer, you can jump on walls more, you can pressure the backline, but without blue you have to be way more careful, you know. You cannot spam skill for no reason, you cannot chase forever. Even when I try to use my ultimate and combo, sometimes I run out of energy mid combo, so it fucks you up in a way, right? So yes, blue buff is obviously very important and a lot of you guys know this, but do not die for your blue buff. If the enemies invade your blue buff and your team can't help you, don't just run in and die. Losing blue is bad, but losing blue in dying is way worse. If you cannot defend it, you just give it up and trade, right? You can trade maybe for his blue, you can trade for a minion wave, a green camp, anything that you see on the map, you need to plan ahead, right? Because this is why Ling is so good, the fact that he has so much mobility, and even if you see an enemy doing something, you can instantly react and look for something far away from them. That's what makes him very, very good for trading. The fifth mistake is jumping in first during team fights. Ling is not supposed to be the first one going in most of the time. You're not the tank, you're not the XP laner, you don't initiate, right? You're not the one who should eat every stun on every ultimate. Especially in the early game where you lack the damage to even properly execute someone. Most of the time you want to let the EXP or ROM just start the fight, you know, let them create the pressure, let them enemies use their cooldowns, let the mage or marksman show their positioning, their presence, and then you go in. Ling is strongest when he enters after the fight already starts. If you jump in first, the enemy team is already ready for you. But if you wait, they might use their stuns on your frontliners. Even by just not showing yourself on the map, the enemy backliners are going to be a lot more paranoid and a lot more hesitant to follow up, knowing that you're already waiting in order to go in and focus them. The sixth mistake is ganking without looking at the minion wave, right? A good gank is not just seeing someone and jumping on them, not reacting to them, you know. A good gank is all about timing. Something that I also want to briefly mention is your energy management, right? A lot of people overlook this, but you need to keep an eye on your energy bar. A lot of times, maybe this has happened to you guys where you go into a fight and you don't have enough energy to even ult or jump on multiple walls. This is mainly because you're wasting all of your energy farming. And I understand, right? You want to use second skill as soon as it's up in your jungle. But by the time you're ready to gank and you're looking you're done with your jungle looking for a play, then you don't have enough energy for it, right? What I like to do is like on the last jungle camp that I'm hitting, maybe hold off on your second skill and just basic attack to get some energy back, you know? Wait till your bar is full and then you should be ready to go in. Okay, so let's start with Ling's emblem, right? There's two emblems that you can actually go. You could either go marksman or assassin emblem. I have personally tried both, and I have to say that assassin is just a lot better. It gives you a lot more consistent damage, even though this one gives you slightly better farm. This one has way better damage, and I found it to be a lot better in my opinion, but again, both are fine. For the first talent, you obviously want to go fatal, since his he requires that crit extra damage. Second, you want to go season hunter, obviously, and third, it's either Warcry or killing spree. I think he needs Warcry for the extra damage. I think you guys should also go Warcry. Killing spree is okay, but the extra damage just helps a lot. Yo, if you guys need Mobile Legends diamonds, make sure to check out Loot Bar. Over 1,100 people from the community have already used my link, so it's a super trusted site for top ups, and the prices are way cheaper than buying directly in the game. Also, I officially launched my coaching website, so booking coaching is super easy now. You can pick a time that works for you and book directly through the website. If you want to improve faster, rank up, and get better at the game, you can definitely check it out. And then as for his build, Ling does have a lot of build variations, but I'll give you guys the one that I found that helped me the most, okay? So for your retry, you obviously want to go blue retry, and then right after that, your first item priority should be berserkers. As you guys know, this item also got buff where it gives you true damage, so it's really helpful. After you get berserkers, I think the best item to go right after that is Host Claws. It gives you more crit damage, it gives you attack speed, and it basically gives you a lot of sustain. Because if you didn't know, every time you second skill on Ling, it counts as a basic attack. That's why Endless Battle is so good on him. So House Claws also really helps with that. And then right after House Claws, you guys should probably go Endless Battle. This will give you your absolute power spike, giving you a lot of lifesteal, true damage, and crit damage. You guys can also consider going BOD if you're snowballing. Right after this, you should finish your boots. It's either gonna be cooldown boots or tough boots. I think tough boots is a lot better, as it gives you some CC immunity. And then after this, I like going BOD if I'm snowballing. If they're tanky, you guys can go Malefic Roar as well. Or you could even consider going War Axe if you want even a little bit more true damage and sustain, right? But probably the best choice is to go BOD and then finish it off with Malefic Roar, okay? I want to give some mention to Great Dragon Spear. You can also use this item as well if you like the cooldown and the movement speed that it gives you. I don't dislike it at all. And also you can go Sea Helver if they have a lot of healing on their team, especially after all the supports got buffed. This item is gonna be really good, so you guys can always go for this, you know. But yeah, this should be it for the build. Alright guys, next up we're gonna go over his skills. So first, we obviously got his passive. I'm gonna read it for you guys. Link's super lightness skills allows him to leap among walls. He gains 4 extra lightness points per second when he's on a wall and 5 extra lightness points each time he deals damage. It also says Ling gains 1.6 times crit chance from all sources, but only has 140% crit damage. So to summarize the second part, he basically gets more crit chance than a normal hero, but does less crit damage than a normal hero would. Like a normal hero would, let's say, would do double the damage, but he only does 140% of the damage, just to balance him out, you know. This is why I don't think you guys should go too much crit items on him, and you should go just raw physical attack most of the time. I think that's why I like going Berserkers and House Claws as the only crit items. Again, Berserker did get a 10% crit damage nerf, and it got compensated with true damage, so that's a bit less. And then for the energy, it just means he regenerates energy with his second skill strikes. As you can see, like as soon as I hit it, I regenerate energy, but if I miss, it's not gonna regen anything. And then if you're standing on a wall, your energy regens a lot faster than, you know, the normal pace. That's basically what his passive does. So let's go with his first skill. This is basically his main form of ability, right? This is what makes him so broken, because he can move all around the map with this first skill. They did add that new map, which is broken walls. And if you do get that map, it's a little bit more complicated, because sometimes you have to jump on walls twice to get from objective to objective, compared to the normal scenarios where you only have to jump on it once. So basically, when you jump on a wall, you're going to, you know, you can move around a lot in them. Also, a secret tip that I have for you guys, if you didn't know, even if you're on a wall, you can hide in the bush, right? There's some spots on the map that you can hide in the bush, like for example, I'm pretty sure this one, you cannot be shown. If you see that little eye icon above your head, it means the enemy cannot see you, even if you're on the wall, right? Because you're very close to this bush. Right here, you shouldn't be visible. There's a lot of spots like this on the map that you can go on. And this could be very useful for like just a surprise gank. But basically, when you jump into a wall, you go into this state. As you guys can see, he looks a little bit more clear or transparent, I would say. And it just regens your energy a bit faster. It regens a bit faster. So I do regen my energy, you know, a lot faster when I'm on the wall. But as you guys can see, if it hits me, that state is no longer on. And my energy regen should be a lot slower. I mean, I'm back to it right now, but if it hits me again, as you guys can see, it should be back to normal. But I think this should reset each time you jump on a wall. Just to confirm, let's wait till this fucking bot hits us again. So yeah, if I jump, I'm automatically on that state again. So if you switch walls, you should be fine when it comes to the energy region and stuff. You can go on custom, you know, fuck around and kind of learn every spot on the map, because there's some areas to where like, okay, I don't have to jump here then jump here. I can just jump directly. You can also pin your map, you know, and move a lot faster and more accurately if you have more vision on it. Okay, so next up we got Ling's second skill. It says Ling charges in the direction of blah 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 blah. Yeah, get the point, bro. So he deals like 300 damage. This scales as you level up your skill. As you guys can see at the bottom, it goes from 300 all the way to 400. And at the end, where you guys see it says Defiance Sword is regarded as a basic attack. This is why items like Endless Battle are really good on him, because you can proc the passive every single time. Because as you guys know, to proc Endless Battle, you have to use an ability and then basic attack. But this is basically doing it combined. That's why it's so good on him. So this is basically just, you know, a dash to do damage. But yeah, it's basically just a dash, and each time you cast it, it's gonna do damage. It also has a really low cooldown. Now that they buffed it, it went from 2.5 seconds in early game to 2 seconds in the late game. So you can pretty much spam this. And then your second skill also changes once you're on a wall. As you guys can see, the icon is a bit different. And you basically can hit a lot of targets like this. So this is basically EOE. And it also slows them by 30%. So you can use this as an engage, you can use it to escape, you can use it to hide on bushes. It's just to get off the wall in a cleaner manner. It also uses 0 energy every time you use it, so it's really good for that. And then last but not least, we got his ultimate. So basically, each time you ult, you gain 10% movement speed. You also become invisible, so nobody can stun or hit you while you're ulting. It also says ignore obstacles. This means that even if there's a wall in front of me, I can ult over it. And it also, as you guys know, it also has like a knock up and a slow. So it knocks them up for 1 second, and it slows them by 40% by 1.5 seconds. So his ultimate is really good. It just has a really long cooldown. That's why you want items like Endless Battle, or even with your blue buff, you can kind of like try to lower the cooldown a bit. It also has the 4 swords that you can collect each time you land with your second skill, or even with your first skill, if you guys didn't know. Like, let's say I have no energy. If I collect it with my first skill, it's gonna give me some energy as well. And then the most important part, which is probably what a lot of people struggle with, is basically his combo, right? Because every time you ult, even if you mess up once, let's say I mess up here, then that you're very vulnerable and the enemies can just fuck you up, you know? So you really gotta learn how to combo. I know a lot of people do like some weird shit to where they ult and then I don't know, they aim and you know that you know that weird combo I'm talking about. But honestly, you don't even need that. And I'm pretty sure nobody does that in like in professional tournaments. You can just do it normally to where you ult and then you just drag your second skill. But his combo shouldn't be that hard. I feel like if you guys go on custom and just keep spamming the, you know, the dashes and the sword, you should get good at it automatically. But what I like to do is aiming like right next to it instead of directly at it. I know even if you aim directly at it, you can still combo correctly, but I feel like this is just faster if I do it like this instead of doing it the normal way, you know, where you aim directly at it. Maybe it's the same speed, maybe it's in my head, but that's what I've always done, you know. I aim like right next to it for the first one, and then everything else you just keep dashing, you know. Something you can do as well is just not touch your joystick at all and just use your second skill after you land. So let's say I'm ulting a moving target and I'm moving with my joystick to control my ultimate and land right on top of him. Well, as soon as I'm about to land, you can stop just using the joystick and dash normally, you know, and just combo. But yeah, to be fair guys, there's no secret trick to this. Something to notice as well is that your swords, if you auto click your ultimate, they're gonna change based on the direction that you're walking at. So if I'm walking diagonally, you guys see the sword is gonna land right in front of me, behind me, etc, etc, right? But if I'm walking forward, it's gonna be right in front of me. You can also spin the ult to your liking, but most of the time you don't even have time for that, right? You just combo. But what you can do is just pay attention to it while you're ulting, to where they're gonna land, and then combo just based on that, you know. But again, for the first sword, I like landing right next to it instead of directly on it, and then just doing my full combo. Again, you guys can just come on custom and practice, you know, your combo for hours. The most important thing about this is muscle memory and the position of your second skill. Of course, you want to play around with it to where you're the most comfortable at, because again, everybody's fingers are different, bro. Everybody's phone is different. What works for me might not work for you, so you got to try to find your own comfort on your own time. Like if you have to spend an hour on custom just to get this down, do it, you know. But again, it shouldn't be that hard. But once you understand like basically his rhythm, you're gonna do this very, very easily. And then, I mean, as for combos, this is mainly the main one, you know. You jump on a wall, you land on them, your second skill. Well, let's say I had no cooldown right now. Well, let's say I had cooldown right now. If I do this, it's gonna be on cooldown for a bit, but by the time I ult, I can second skill again. So you guys can always do that, you know. You can go into a wall, basic attack, second skill, especially if you have endless battle, because that's double true damage already. And then just ult and, you know, do your normal combo like that. Oops, messed up there. But yeah, something else, of course, you can just land like this, ult right away, then just combo, you know. Again, guys, you don't need like crazy fast hands to play this hero. You can just be good, bro. Have good macro. As long as you land your combo and you're accurate, you don't gotta be like super fast. Of course it helps, but again, MS is like a big factor as well. But yeah, you can just come on custom and practice here for a long time. Make your second skill bigger if you have to. I'm gonna go over the settings in a bit, but again, mainly just muscle memory. Play around with your settings, your joystick, your buttons. all that, and you guys should be good. Okay, as for the settings, I mean, these are my graphic settings. You guys can, this depends on your phone and your preference. Outline, I like to keep it on in general. It helps me see the heroes better because it gives them an outline. I feel like if you turn it off, the heroes look pointless. I don't like how it looks, bro. Shadows, I have them off. I feel like it's not necessary, but this is just preference, you know. It also helps with your frames a little bit. Screen shake, you should 100% have this off. It's gonna make it to like every time you land the skill, this screen is gonna lightly shake, bro. So it's literally gonna make you, I don't know, nervous. It might make you mess up a bit. So I suggest having this off. Everything else you can copy, and then let's go to controls, which is the most important. Basic attack, smart targeting, I have it on lock on. This is basically like, if you guys know League of Legends, you can lock into anything. That's a very important mechanic in that game. But I have it like this to where I can lock on any hero that I want, and it's gonna automatically focus them, right? This works again. This also works for creeps, for minions, for anything you want to lock on. You just drag and lock onto it. You can remove it, as you can see, by just locking away very easily. But this, again, this could be a double-edged sword, so be really careful with this. You guys can get good at it by just keep using it, practicing with it. But instead of using like hero lock mode like a lot of people do, I just like to aim my abilities and again use this lock on targeting mechanic. Next up, we got attack activation distance. This is basically when you click your basic attack, if it's gonna chase them or not, like automatically. So this is medium distance. I'll have it right now. If I had it on long distance, then it will trigger like from further away, like from right here. So I don't want to overdo it or over chase or make the wrong movement if they're too far, so I have it on medium distance. Joystick, I recommend having this on fixed position because it just gives overall better muscle memory and better movement over time if you get used to the same joystick. Everything else is off, and then target priority, you guys should have it on lowest HP. A lot of people get confused and put lowest HP percent, but if you guys didn't know, lowest HP percent is basically your health bar. So 90% health, 80% health, but only based on your health bar, not your absolute health. So let's say there's a tank with 10,000 health, but his health bar is at like 80%, but there's a marksman with like 2,500 health, but his health bar is like 95%. Then even though the marksman is squishier, it's gonna lock onto the tank. That's the issue with this setting, so you should have it on lowest HP. Hero lock mode, again, I don't use this. Active crit filter, not necessary. You guys shouldn't use that. Assistant aiming mode, I have it on. I only turn this off for Fanny because you don't need it. Skill joystick, you guys should have it on fixed position. If you have it on tap, every time you tap your skill, it's gonna change the area that you're using your skill on. So every time it's gonna be different every time you click it. This is bad in my opinion. You guys should have it on fixed, again, for better muscle memory. And this is the new setting that I'm still not too sure, but I feel like the default is at medium. I have it at like, I mean, 35-40%. I feel like it's good. It shouldn't be too big and it shouldn't be too small. All right, so have it at like medium right there. And camera sensitivity is preference, but this is, you know, to pin your map. I don't use aim panning because I use 3 fingers or 4 sometimes to play. You guys can turn the battle UI opacity low so that every time you open settings, shop or scoreboard, it's transparent and you can see everything. And then for the custom UI, again, this is all preference. You can play around with it however size you want it, wherever you want it. This depends on your phone and your fingers. Generally, I recommend making the red tree bigger, make the shop bigger in case you have to item swap, make this bigger as well. I like making my map a bit bigger, 125% around there to, you know, focus more on the map. And these you can remove because if you have it in the middle and they're huge, then it's gonna cover the HP of objectives like lords and turtles. So that's basically about it. Also, I recommend you guys to click here at the top, and instead of preset 1, preset 2 or whatever, use simple mode. Simple mode just gets rid of all the text. It makes your game smoother, and it even changes the the design of your joystick. You guys can try it out. Alright guys, so now to the analysis segment of the video. This was a scrim game that I played a few days ago, and as you guys can see, the enemies actually had a pretty good comp. Atlas really good right now in the meta. Gwyn is one of the best junglers. Pac one of the best XPs. Kim is really good on mid lane, and then the only one that's not like crazy is Beatrix, but she's still a really great marksman. So in my side, I had a Harif, a Gore, Hylos, and a Yuzong. Usually, if you're playing Ling or most damage junglers, you need a good mid duo that can win the matchup or even it out so that you don't get invaded. But as soon as you guys see this, you should analyze, right? Like check their emblems, check everything, check their spell. What I see is that this Kimmy has Purify, so she's probably a really easy target. This Paquito also has Lethal Ignition. I'm pretty sure he's going like damage, so he should be squishy if he's not going to sustain. And they have an Atlas, they have a Gwyn, so I should be careful of the bushes. Even if I'm on the wall, the Gwyn can sometimes get a good angle on you. And mainly just easy backline here, to be honest, to focus. Both of these heroes only have one dash. If Gwyn doesn't have her second skill as well, I can just focus her as well. But this game is basically gonna be based on scaling, because we do have a Gore, a Harith, and a Ling. We have a Yuzong and a Hylos to balance it out in the early game. But again, I wanted to pick this game. I picked this game because I considered that this was a really good game when it comes to trading. I also did really good. This was right after his buff as well. But here, I start on the green camp, obviously because of the new update. If you guys have not checked out my video on the rotation, you can check it out. I also use my red tree instantly. This is something you can do because the enemies are probably going to be busy clearing mid. Sometimes there's roamers that do invade you, mostly early game roamers like Cho, Khalid, sometimes Matilda, but if there's an Atlas, they have to worry about clearing mid as well, so they're not going to invade you. So what I like to do is taking green, blue, and then looking for something, right? This could be an invade, lethal, or just keep farming my own jungle depending on the situation. So right here, I see that we're winning mid. I just go for lethal easily. And then I think I went for a blue buff as well after this green camp though. So I think here I should have went for blue buff first, because the Atlas actually got outpoked by my mid duo. So this was actually a mistake. I should have went for blue first, to be honest. But again, now even if you have enhanced retro, you guys know how before it would like upgrade your damage. Even if you have 5 stacks now, it doesn't do anything. So that's why there's no point in doing what I did anymore. That's like something that would have been good in the past to have the retro advantage, but now it doesn't do anything. But yeah, here my Hylos dies, but I do end up taking the blue, and I end up going back in because I know Gwyn has no second skill. I just full combo him, and as you guys can see, the damage is actually not bad for an early game Ling. Being able to kill anybody, it's better than what it was before. But here I instantly keep farming, and I'm clearing jungle. And then here, what I said earlier, now we do have the advantage because I killed Gwyn early game. She's probably gonna go top lane. They're going top to trade. I know she's probably gonna be near red side, looking to get level 4 or for a gank on the Harif. So we just instantly rush turtle. We see them on our blue now, so we can just look for a fight here. Let's see what I do. The Atlas has no second skill, so instead of going for Gwyn or anybody else, I just go for the Beatrix. It's the marksman, easiest target, and I'm pretty sure she had no flicker here. I don't remember the comms on the BC, but they probably call no flicker on the Beatrix. You should always calculate the time as well. every flicker is 2 minutes, unless they have, you know, the pull yourself together emblem. Purify is like 70 seconds, etc, etc. You guys can look at the timers and calculate that in your head. Here, you know, I just keep farming. As soon as you have no ult, no nothing, just keep scaling, keep farming. If you're playing 5-man, I would suggest telling your team to play a bit more passive. If you're not ready, wait for your to clear your buffs and then you can help, because a lot of times, I mean, in solo queue you can control it, right? Your team is just gonna fight, you can't do much about that. That's why I say that trading is very, very important, because even if your team fucks up, they're fighting, they lose the fight, they're feeding, whatever, you can always look for a trade around the map, usually on the opposite side. But here I'm just clearing. Turtles up in 40. I'm probably looking for a kill on pack, so I'm already telling my XP laner to just bait him out. That's why you guys see him playing aggressively here, because it's gonna be a 2v1 scenario, right? So he goes for the petrify. I tried to kill him, but I don't think we do anything here. Yeah, I used retry, ult, everything, and then we couldn't even kill pack, because I mean, pack is pack, bro. We got his flicker, but as you guys can see on the top lane, they end up losing the fight because we were in there. So in this scenario, maybe we should have helped top, but at the same time, if I'm looking for a play bot lane, there's my team should just play passive. But I'm pretty sure they got tower though, so they couldn't do much there. But yeah, so far, like, the early game is pretty even, I would say. We did get first turtle, but second turtle coming up here, I'm already starting it for my team. And my use on ults, because the turtle's low here, by the way. Turtle's low, I'm trying to rush it, so he just ults to zone, give vision, look for the jungler. And I just go for the burst here. I use my ultimate to immune anything Atlas wants to throw at me. And I just keep farming, because, you know, now if I use my ult for turtle, there's no reason to fight here, so my team shouldn't have went in. I already told them this. Like, if I have nothing, if I'm not ready, I'm not prepared, they just shouldn't fight. Especially if the objective is to take turtle, just don't fight. I see the waves connecting here. Always look at your map, look at the waves. And I also see that it's about to be minute 5. This is very important. After minute 5, you can actually start farming your XP laner's wave. So instead of going to blue here, I just go for the bat wave, because that's a lot of gold that, you know, Ling needs to in order to scale. So I go for these minions. I'm pretty sure I start hitting. No, I don't hit the tower because I see them coming. I was gonna go for it, but since I saw them coming here, I just, you know, I just don't go for it. I give Gwyn that green camp. It's not worth to risk, you know, dying just for a green camp, so I go directly to my red. And then after that, I see that the Gwyn is cutting, so they obviously want to push this lane. I see my Hylos and Yuzo are coming up here soon, so I just go for I initiate first here, just to bait them out a little bit. Knocked up the pack, and I got a free kill there, because we know he now has no flicker. Now I just recall, go for my blue, keep farming, you know, I don't overstay. If I have to give some farm to my Yuzo while I clear my camps, that's okay, you know, that's completely fine. But after you're done with your camps, you should probably be looking to clear one of the minion waves. Most likely the XP. You never want to take gold from your gold laner, obviously. But here coming up, I have no ultimate, I have nothing, but I'm looking for an invade on top, because, you know, we just saw Gwyn bottom lane. So her being here, most likely her rotation is gonna be like this. So she's not on this side yet. She's probably on this half map. You can always try to predict where the enemy jungler is and just look for a play based on that. We go for Kimmy here again. She has Purify, so we get the kill very easily. And we also got the kill on Atlas, which was really good. And just look at this, guys. Like, I don't waste a single second. This is like, time is so important when you play jungle. I didn't waste a single second there overstaying. I just let my team, you know, do their thing, keep pushing. Because now I have no ult. It's too risky for me to stay and try to get the... It's too risky for me to stay when Guinevere's there. She can just fuck me up really easily. And then I just go for the turtle. It's a free turtle since two of them died right there on mid. And right after turtle, I go for the bot lane clear. The pack is here, but my ult is coming up pretty soon. No, I don't go for it. Yeah, I'm about to run out of blue. I also didn't have my ult yet, so we couldn't fight him yet. But again, I keep farming here. My team is again looking for a fight on top lane, which it's okay, you know, it's okay. But I think they should wait a bit longer again until I'm able to take my buffs, because Ling can just rotate very easily, right? So if they waited a little more, then I could have helped. But even though my team lost the top lane fights, I'm still looking for trades here. So I go for pack. I know they're coming from the left side, so I should be careful with that. But since I know they're pushing top, I just clear the mid lane before they're able to push mid. And after clearing mid, knowing they're gonna react to mid and all gonna come down to mid and Paquito's dead, I just go for the bot lane push. So it's basically a free tower here. I know they then gonna react and come bot lane again, so I just leave. You know, you just gotta play with your mobility, play with your tempo, make them react, and then keep moving, basically. So in just a small time frame, we were able to do a lot of things. Okay, here I'm looking for a kill again onto pack, because I knew he had no flicker. And then the Gwyn did use her jump, but now somebody should go bottom, and that should be me, right? But this was a really good team fight overall. I got 2 kills, and then I'm able to recall to fix bot lane. My goal right now was to fix bot lane, but since I saw my team fighting, I was able to help them here. I actually end up getting the kill, so right now I'm 8-0. You know, even though we lost some team fights, I was able to just, again, waste no time, keep farming, keep scaling, and just look for the perfect opportunities to go in here. So right now there's 3 of them dead, so I think I should have started low right away, especially now that I have endless battle. But you see, like, I reached level 15 arguably pretty fast here before minute 10. It's a free lore, so yeah, we get this shit for free. And then I should probably invade blue. No reason to go bot as of yet. When you're winning, you gotta try to, you know, keep that pressure up. And I don't think I go directly for the buff. I go for the team fight first, because I know they're just gonna defend this. So right now I'm probably, again, I don't remember what happened exactly, but I'm probably looking for the backline here, waiting for Atlas to go in. You see, we wait for him. I see the Beatrix, you guys see? I'm pinning my map the whole time to have a better picture of how the team fight's looking like. So I wait for the Atlas to go in. As soon as I see Beatrix in the backline, I go for her. Why? Because, I mean, obviously you want to focus squishy marksmen, but that just makes them have no follow-up. So even if Atlas gets a set, I'm just disrupting their whole team fight tempo and basically just two-shotting her because I'm so fed. So yeah, I know my target, I two-shot her. And then I go for Atlas here. I know he has no second skill, he has nothing. And then I just wiped. I'm pretty sure I got a maniac here. Yeah. But you guys see, like, the damage is insane. It's insane. But basically, guys, if you kill their backliners, then even if they have a lot of tanky heroes in the front, they're automatically useless because they can't do much without their damage dealers, right? So on Ling, it's really easy to just jump on walls and focus the backline. A lot easier than, I think, all heroes, bro. Like, even Fanny, you have to kind of like cable through and look for certain angles. On Ling, you literally just jump on walls and go to the back. It's so easy. Even with your enhanced second skill, it's the easiest hero assassin to just go into the backline and shred them, you know. But again, I didn't waste any time. I didn't overstay. I'm not looking for minions. I'm just farming back to my jungle, right? When you're winning and there's no lore, the best thing to do is to freeze the waves so you don't give the enemy farm, right? Freeze the waves and only push mid. That's why my team is pushing mid right now. We freeze the waves, we take their jungle if possible, farm my own jungle, and wait for an opportunity, right? Because eventually, you guys see, they're gonna have to walk up to farm these minions. So I see the big tricks on top. I should be really careful though, because we have no vision of them at all. So if Beatrix is here, the Atlas, the Guinevere, anybody could be here with her. So you guys see, I'm being really cautious. Slowly. But I see the Beatrix here, but she's obviously baiting, so I don't go for it instantly. I wait for my team first. But since my team didn't arrive in time, I just keep hiding and then I go for the clear. I could have went for that, but if Atlas and Gwyn is here, after I land my ult, they can easily get me. So even if you're ahead, you shouldn't always go for greedy plays like that, especially if you're ahead, because that would have gave her a pretty big shutdown. Oh, that pack almost two-shotted me. Yeah, but we're able to, because you know, this is something that could happen, bro. You pin your map and then you got a motherfucker on top of you. It's like, it's something that could happen. He almost got me, but Instinct was able to land a good Petri on him. Then my ult did a lot. Then I keep going here. They have like, I think we need one more Lord to win. So before lore, usually what you want to do is get the top prio here, slow push it. These minions are gonna eventually move on to their inhibitor, and at least one of them is gonna have to be there. They do have two dead, but you know, I'm still able to push this lane and probably look for lore. I did do the lore here, right? Yeah. So we do lore and we can instantly go for a fight, because right now we're like just very ahead, bro. I'm pretty sure 10k plus ahead if I had to guess. But I mean, if the game was even, or if we weren't that ahead, it's more ideal to just reset, go back, sync the waves, and then wait for lore and go with the lore, right? All right. But since we're ahead here, they just go for the team fight. I'm looking for the backline here. You guys see? Atlas one-shotted, Beatrix. She uses wind, but she still gets one-shotted. I'm doing so much damage. I got a triple kill and the game is basically over. His damage is insane, bro. So this was a 16 kill scrim game against a pretty good comp. And we were still able to, you know, do pretty good here. I sold my build, but it's the same build that I show you guys. But yeah, you see, I had 13,000 gold, more than anybody on my team. That was almost double the Guinevere's gold. So you guys can just look at my path in, what I did, the analysis and everything, and try to learn something from it. I hope I was able to express myself in a way that could help you guys in any way. I feel like I could have said a lot more things, but I was just going with the flow. So I hope I was at least able to help you guys. But yeah, I think that will be it for the Ling analysis. I hope you guys enjoyed this guide. I don't know how long it's gonna be. Still needs to be edited and all. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate you as always if you're still watching to this part of the video. And please guys, subscribe to my second channel where I'm gonna be posting variety there. But yeah.